and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before. So can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
It is a Wednesday edition of Running Points on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig for the next 3 hours. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Looks like we're going to get hockey, albeit a 24-team playoff, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. We have put a call into our hockey guru, Tom Callahan. Hopefully we will be getting him on either today or Friday, hopefully today rather than Friday, being that the news broke yesterday about the 24-team playoff, of which my Sabres are the 25th team, so they're not going into the playoffs.
That is such a Sabre thing to happen.
Yeah, well, of course. Absolutely it is. I mean, they haven't been to the playoffs in Lord knows how long, but it is what it is. Penguins are banged up. They lost another forward yesterday, and that's going to be interesting to see what happens. Major League Baseball, they're trying to get their act together. The owners put together a proposal that was insulting beyond belief to the Players Association, and the Players Association basically said, "Hey, this is insulting. We're not doing this." They're going to be firing back their proposal in the next couple of days. Ideally, they want everyone to be in camp by June the 10th, have 3 weeks of camp, and then start the season somewhere around the 4th of July. 82-game schedule, as we mentioned. They would be playing the division opposite them in the other league 6 times each, and then that would leave 13 games played against your own division. So if you're the Pirates, you would be playing the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Reds, and the Cubs 13 times each. And then you would turn around and play the Twins, the Tigers, the Royals, the White Sox, and the Indians 6 times each. There's your 82-game schedule. Geographically, it makes sense. They've got all the parameters pretty much in line. Maybe not so much the health concerns, but the money factor is so far off pace right now. I think there's a lot of people that have serious doubts whether Major League Baseball is able to get this going or not. And we'll hear from John Parado. He's an MLB writer. He is based out of the Pittsburgh area. We will hear from him in about 12 minutes, and we'll get the latest on what is going on.
There are some former players that aren't exactly on the side of the current players and the concerns that they've been putting out. I saw Chipper Jones came out and kind of he rebuked the idea that you're not going to pay for he rebuked what some of the players have been saying. So it's interesting to see some of the former players come out and not support the players that are playing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I know that if Chipper Jones were on the Atlanta Braves, he wouldn't be talking like this.
Right.
It's a little hypocritical. You were part of the reason why we didn't have Major League Baseball in 1994. Tom Glavine is going to be the guy that I will forever link the 1994 season and its disaster to because of his stupid stance that the players had, in which the players and the owners both were equally to blame for the fact that we didn't have postseason baseball, and if you want to add some tentacles to this, the reason Montreal doesn't have a baseball team right now is because of the strike of 1994. So there's, when I hear players who used to be all gung-ho about the union and now because they got their money, they're retired and they're happy, now they're going to suddenly become sympathetic former major league player. Get the hell out of here with that stuff. You're an idiot. I mean, if you were playing Major League Baseball, you wouldn't feel this way. So stick your opinion straight up your backside, as far as I'm concerned. It's just irrelevant. What I'd like to see from Major League Baseball and what I'd like to see from the Players Association is a proposal that says this: give us half of our money. You guys can sell no more than 10,000 tickets for the fans. Close the concession stands. Allow fans to bring in a cooler with sandwiches and soft drinks. No beer will be served. If you want to bring in your own beer, you can only bring a certain amount. You bring your cooler in with sandwiches and whatnot. You put your cooler right next to you as part of the 6-foot social distancing thing. Cut your stadium down by a third, or better yet, like I said, sell 10,000 tickets maximum. There you go. Problem solved. Players get their money. Owners get 10,000 tickets sold at whatever price you want to charge the fans for the 10,000 tickets. Make sure everyone's socially distant from each other. Everyone wins.
Everyone wins.
Everyone wins.
Yeah.
This isn't hard. I feel like we're doing Rob Manfred's job. I mean, this guy is such a putz, it's not even funny. I mean, good Lord. This is so easy to figure out, and yet you have billionaires and millionaires that have no concept of reality right now. It just pisses me off, actually.
Well, Rob Manfred's not alone, because he's got people in his corner telling him that he's doing the right thing. Which,
he's the servant of the owners, of course.
He's got staff. He's got advisors that are all probably telling him that he's doing the right thing right now.
Well, and this is why when you have that kind of a situation, you're going to be an abysmal failure. You got to at least have someone in your inner circle that believes in checks and balances. Look, if a guy is screwing up, the last thing I want is to have ass kissers around me saying, "Oh, hey, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job." No, actually, I would love to have someone in my inner circle telling me, "Dude, you're dropping the ball and you're really making this stupid right now. You better start turning this stuff around." Unfortunately, I don't think Manfred has anyone like that in his corner, which is sad.
And then when you add that to the fact that the owners have a little bit of control over them, then you get a perfect storm of terribleness.
Well, and again, I mean, it's if you're hired to be the commissioner, yes, you're hired by the owners, but you should also do what is best for the game. And over the last year or so, with all this stuff going on, and again, the pandemic is nobody's fault. It just happened. But the way you're handling your business is just absurd at this point. The fact that you want to cut out 42 minor league teams because somebody put a bug in your ear saying that this will save us something. Stop. Just stop. Just stop messing with this game. You're supposed to be the caretaker of this game, not the ruiner of this game. Stop already. Ugh, horrible. And it's sad, and it's a sad commentary that the National Hockey League is going to be the forefront of everyone coming back.
First to pull the trigger.
They're going to be the first of the four major sports. Look, NASCAR's already pulled the trigger. The PGA Tour kind of, sort of, has pulled the trigger. But of the four major sports that we follow in this country, baseball, football, basketball, and hockey, of all sports, is going to pull the trigger. And I got news for you. If they are, in fact, the first sport back, I think there's going to be a whole lot of hockey fans that come out of the woodwork to embrace this sport. which is a sad commentary because baseball, and we've talked about the image problems that this game has. If you're not the first entity back, boy, oh boy, did you screw up an opportunity to be good.
That's true, but hockey had the most to lose, so it makes sense that they were the first ones to kind of just jump in the water because hockey is the smallest. We talked about it earlier with our guru that hockey, if they didn't have a season, it would be really detrimental to them compared to the other leagues.
I mean, yes and no. And look, hockey's a regional thing. It's not a nationwide thing because not everyone is near a hockey team, a major league hockey team. Baseball isn't as regional. It's starting to become regional.
Well, I was about to say not everyone's near a major league baseball team.
Yeah, but there's plenty of minor league teams but baseball is starting to become regional. Obviously, these two sports lag way far behind football and basketball, and either one of these sports, they really need to jump back and get the head start on the NBA and the NFL, and unfortunately,
but hockey more so because they don't have the huge TV deals. TV isn't paying huge amount of dollars like compared to what they pay for baseball, football, and basketball to hockey. I mean, you look at the hockey TV deals compared to the other three major sports, it's night and day.
They're lagging. There's no doubt.
So hockey, I don't know if I think hockey might have had more to lose if they didn't come back, because I don't think they would have been able to. Like we talk about the PR, like PR MLB wouldn't be able to bounce back, but they'd be fine as an organization. I don't know if the NHL would be fine as a league if they didn't come back.
See, I don't think Major League Baseball is going to be fine at this at all. If they don't get their stuff together, I don't think Major League Baseball survives much longer. And I say that in all sincerity because, look, the '94 strike, Cal Ripken Jr. and steroids saved Major League Baseball. Well, you don't got steroids to fall back on, so you're not going to have that. And with all due respect to the players playing in Major League Baseball right now, none of them hold a candle to what Cal Ripken Jr. accomplished in his pursuit to get Lou Gehrig's all-time record. None of them are anywhere close to something like that, nor do we have a Major League Baseball player who's anywhere close to breaking a record that the game, that's a record that is endearing to the game and endearing to the fans. We don't have any situation like that. So baseball's SOL if they don't get their stuff together here.
People don't long for hockey the way in America, the way people
long
for baseball. There's no way that the professional baseball goes away because there's just too many people that want professional baseball.
Yeah, and again, those people are all dying in large chunks. The traditionalists like myself are dying.
Maybe, but I think if baseball went away, I think people would realize really quick how much they take it for granted because baseball is Americana. Well, it's pure Americana.
We all know that right now with the game not being played, a bunch of us miss it. But the point is, if the players and the owners are going to play this multi-million-dollar game of chicken, the fans are going to sit back and go, "Screw you! We don't want you now. You guys are ruining
for a little
this."
bit, but after a minute, they'll be like, "Wait a minute, we need baseball. We need professional baseball."
I'm going to be curious.
They're going to long for professional baseball.
We're going to hear from John Parado about this because I have a bad feeling that if Major League Baseball doesn't get it together and get this thing accomplished, we're in for a long bit of problems with baseball. We'll hear from John Parado coming up in a bit. That is coming up. It's a Wednesday edition of Running Points. We were not around on Monday, Memorial Day. You shouldn't be doing sports on Memorial Day.
You took the pause button.
Yeah, we hit the pause button. All right, we'll hear from John Parado. That's coming up in a bit. Stick around.
21
Good evening,
News.
and thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to our top
More
story
experienced
tonight.
reporters, A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories
We'll look at
Baby
efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
around our
Good
valley
Community in
afternoon.
Niles,
We are
one
here in
Triangle Valley
Youngstown, right
business.
because you expect
up. Important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hardwig, and we are pleased to be joined by MLB writer, one of the best in the business as far as I'm concerned, John Parado, joining us on the YSN hotline. John, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Ron. How are you?
I'm good. More importantly, how are you feeling 1 month into quadruple bypass heart surgery?
Pretty good. I really can't complain. Everything's went well and feeling better every day, and on the road to recovery, and everything's good. I appreciate you asking.
Fantastic. John, Major League Baseball, anything but okay, as we are trying to get the game back post-pandemic. Players and the owners are bickering over money. What else is new? Is there light at the end of the tunnel in this? Do the owners and players realize how important these negotiations are in terms of Major League Baseball being the forefront of being the first major professional sports to come back?
I would like to think that both sides are able to grasp that. Whether they are or not, it's hard to tell. I do think that by negotiating in public the way they have been doing, both sides, and particularly the owners, every time the owners make a proposal, they float it to one of their MLB network employees the day before. I don't think that's helping matters. I don't think it's helping negotiations get any closer to finding a settlement, and I don't think it's helping the sport from a public relations standpoint. In a time when there's 35 million people unemployed, Ron, I don't think a lot of people are real interested in people squabbling over billions of dollars. And I think if I were baseball, I would put a news blackout on all the negotiations and quit leaking stuff and just sit down until you figure out an agreement or you don't figure out an agreement.
As far as I'm concerned, this is easy. I mean, you want social distancing. I understand that. I think that Major League Baseball could very well do it in a very easy manner, sell no more than 10,000 tickets, have your social distancing, have the concession stands closed so people can bring in coolers of sandwiches and soda or a few beers if they want to. Have the cooler next to you to keep in mind of the social distancing. That way, the owners can sell 10,000 tickets at whatever amount of money, and you just pay the players the half a year salary everyone wins. You hope and pray that you don't have a pandemic again in the fall where the postseason can be played, because everyone knows the postseason is where the real money is. And for the owners and the players, I think this would be the perfect scenario. Could Major League Baseball get away with doing something like this, John?
I think it's a possibility. I don't know right away if states would let them open the ballparks up, even like you said, maybe 20%, 25% capacity for fans. But I think it certainly could happen sooner rather than later. And I think Ron, there's got to be some creative ways to get this done, and that's one of them. Or even if you have the closed ballparks, come up with an idea of somehow both sides realizing, hey, let's do what's good for the good of the game. And I think right now the players are very distrustful because they do realize if there's no baseball, regardless of who's really at fault in the negotiations, the players are the one that's going to take the blame, because you never hear people complain about the owners making too much money. It's always people talking about the players making too much money. So and the owners certainly understand that, and they put the players in a position where they know they're going to be the bad guy.
Yeah, well, you just brought that up, that the owners kind of put the details of their proposal out there. Do you think that was a strategic move to kind of give themselves leverage in this negotiation and kind of put the public eyes on the players?
Oh, I think there's no doubt in my mind that that's exactly what they're doing. They're putting the heat on the players because the public opinion is usually against the players, and I just don't think it's helping. It's not being constructive in this situation. I think for one time, maybe I'm Pollyannish here, I think you have to put the whole labor owner issue aside, and both sides, in good faith, and I'll reiterate that, good faith, need to come up with some kind of equitable solution. I have to believe there's one out there, and I think in this time of trouble, when you have almost 100,000 people have died, you've got over 30 million people out of work, people have no tolerance for this BS right now. They really, really don't. And I think baseball does not understand that. And what they should do, and I hate to say this as a reporter because it goes against everything that I'd want as somebody who covers baseball, I really think they should go into a news blackout. I really, truly do. I think people don't want to hear any more, and each time more stuff leaks out, the worse baseball's public perception becomes.
John, we had a caller last week that brought up a really interesting idea, assuming that fans would be allowed in the stadiums to have a barnyard, or not a barnstorming tour, where you would have most of your games played for the Pirates at PNC Park, but go to the nearer or the nearest affiliate. In the Pirates' case, it would be Altoona, and play a couple of games in Altoona in front of half of the crowd or a third of the crowd. And that way, the folks that have a ticket to that game would be able to see a Major League Baseball game played in Altoona. If you're the Indians, the closest team for the Indians would either be the Lake Erie Captains or the Akron Rubber Ducks, and have a couple of games played in the minor league facilities in front of half or a third of the stands. That way, you would have kind of a goodwill ambassador type of tour for Major League Baseball that I think would be a tremendous PR move for baseball.
That's a very interesting concept, Ron, and I think it would be good, especially in a year when it's becoming pretty apparent there's going to be no minor league baseball, and so many of the minor league franchises, I don't know if they're going to be able to survive the hit of not having a season. I mean, it's a different ball game than in the big leagues. They don't get very much television money, and almost all the revenue is predicated on ticket sales, concessions, parking, in-game sponsorships, things of that nature. And maybe you go to these ballparks and not only have the big leaguers come and play from a good PR standpoint, but maybe you give at least part of the proceeds to the minor league operators and help them keep afloat, because as you well know, Ron, you worked in the minor leagues. You know the margin, the profit margins are very slim in minor league baseball, and those operators could really, really use the help just to stay solvent and try to stay in business for come back next year when you would hope it'd be more of a normal baseball season again.
Well, and considering there's a couple of teams, 42 to be exact, that are on the chopping block at the end of this year, from a selfish standpoint, I'd love for the Pirates or the Indians to make a trek to Eastwood Field in Niles, where chances are you're not going to be seeing minor league baseball at the end of the 2020 season if Major League Baseball has their way. So why not have the Indians play a game or two, or the Pirates play a game or two in a facility that's no longer going to be used after the 2020 season?
Oh, I agree. I think it would. I think it would be a good gesture. I think it would be good. It would be goodwill on the part of baseball. But you know, as we're finding out these negotiations, public relations and goodwill is apparently not at the top of the list for Major League Baseball.
Me and Ron talked about it a little bit earlier before you came on. Some former players, Chipper Jones is one I saw, have come out kind of against the current players. What was your thoughts when you saw his statements and other statements of former players not really backing the current players?
I'm a little bit surprised. I think in a way it's a little hypocritical. You know, when the strike of '94 came, I didn't hear Chipper Jones stand up and say, hey, we really shouldn't go on strike. And, you know, I mean, I do think now that the way things are, that it is a little hypocritical. And, again, I don't know if it's serving any good purpose either, except to try to make themselves look good. You know, it's a little bit different for Chipper Jones now. He works for the team instead of the players' union. I just think everyone needs just to keep their mouths shut right now. And if reporters ask, just say, look, I'm not going to comment about the financial and economical situations because, again, it just serves no purpose. Like they always said in speech class, number one rule of public speaking, know your audience. And your audience right now are either unemployed, have lost loved ones to COVID, and if they are employed, they've had their hours reduced possibly, they've had their pay reduced possibly. So your audience doesn't want to hear about financial squabbles right now, and I just think it just is totally defeating the purpose to keep this up in public. And it just baffles me, it frustrates me that people in baseball don't understand that.
MLB writer John Parado joining us on the YSN hotline. John, it's no secret Major League Baseball lags far behind in terms of the age of the fan. The average baseball fan is now 57 years of age in Major League Baseball, and that is by far the oldest of all the four major sports. This is a sport that is very much in terms of trying to market themselves better, but they don't seem to take change very well. And it's no secret there are plenty of dark storms on the horizon. This is the current one. The one very close is after the 2020 season. Again, 42 minor league teams on the chopping block. And after the 2021 season, the contract between the players and the owners are up. And we will probably have a very long, very arduous negotiation battle. Could the combination of these three variables ultimately kill this game, John?
Yes, I think absolutely. And the sad part is it's like Nero fiddling while Rome burns. So that's Rob Manfred. I mean, all Rob Manfred does is run down Major League Baseball. Runs down, oh, the games are too long. The pace is too long. And he's right about it. But why do they always do this? If you have a product you're trying to sell, you don't run it down. If you're selling cornflakes, you don't say, well, they're stale and they're not very good and they don't taste very good and they're not nutritious for you. Of course you're not going to say that. They just run their own product down all the time, and then they wonder why people don't watch it. Well, if you're bad-mouthing your own game, then why would people want to watch the games, especially someone that might not be a baseball fan but say, hey, I'd like to watch a game or two and see what this is all about. And if all you're hearing is, well, the game needs fixed, this and that, you probably figure, well, the hell with it. It's not worth my time watching it if the people running it don't even like it.
John, let me ask you, if you were in the shoes of Rob Manfred, knowing that there's 30 owners that are essentially telling you what to do by and large, what do you do to change the marketing aspect and change the game without destroying the fabric of the game?
Well, the first thing I'd do is say quit being adversarial with the players all the time. The players want to market the game. The players I talk to, and I talked to quite a few of them, they want the game to thrive, like any employee would want their business to thrive. And that is, there is so much mistrust, though, that the Players Association is hesitant to get into any kind of agreement with Major League Baseball on anything, including marketing, because they just feel that they'll end up getting the short end of the stick. And I can't blame them, because that's the owner's number one priority in life sometimes, seems like it is to mess with the players. And I know the players make good money. They make great money. Well, the owners are making even a heck of a lot more money than the players. And there's just such a mistrust between labor and management that I don't know if you can ever bridge that gap short of cleaning house and ownership and maybe even the Players Association.
We asked our callers this last week when we were talking about it, but since this is going to be an 82-game season, it's going to have if they play, it's going to be an 82-game season. It's going to have an asterisk on it no matter what. Do you think there are some things that the MLB can kind of test out to see if it works this year, since it's kind of a crazy season anyway?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, I think they could, and I think they are. I think you're going to see the universal DH in both leagues. That seems like that's pretty well been agreed upon, even though it hasn't been announced publicly. They're going to a 14-team playoff. I don't know as a traditionalist if I like almost half the league being in the playoffs, but if you're ever going to try something to experiment, this is the year to do it. Like you say, it's the strange season anyway with 82 games. So, yeah, I think perfectly it's a good time to experiment because, like you said, there's going to be that asterisk next to the season, if not physically in the record book, certainly mentally in the mind of the fans. So why not? Maybe you come up with some good ideas, maybe some things that work moving forward and make the game better.
John, before we let you go, obviously if Major League Baseball is not played, you're going to lose upwards of $4 billion, and that is a tremendous amount of money. Even though it probably doesn't make any sense to expand, the fact that you would be getting close to $4 billion between the two teams, getting the two teams into Major League Baseball, is expansion a lot closer to the game now by two teams than it ever was because of the financial hardship that Major League Baseball could have if it does not have a 2020 season?
Well, that's a great point, Ron. And if you look back at the expansion years, one of two things have driven expansion. Either one, lawsuits from cities that lost teams like Seattle, so they had to put another team into Seattle. Or two, it's owners have a shortfall of cash and they need an influx of cash. And what better way to do that than have two expansion teams pay about $1 billion total in franchise fees just to be able to get expansion teams. And, it makes a lot of sense on a lot of levels. You have an odd number of teams in both leagues. That would even it out to 16. I think there's some markets there, Portland, Charlotte, some other places that would be potential major league markets. So, yeah, I mean, if they're going to do it, this would be the time to do it, both by historical precedent and just from a common sense standpoint.
Well, let's not forget Montreal, because if we're going to expand by two more teams, Montreal has to be one of those teams.
And I think they will be. I totally forgot to mention them. But, yeah I think if they can get a stadium built, and it looks like they can, I think you'll definitely see a team back in Montreal.
John, always a pleasure. I'm glad that you are doing much, much better health-wise, and I look forward to seeing you when all of this gets taken care of and we're back to covering baseball again.
Well, me too. I look forward to it, Ron. And thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You got it. John Parado, he is an MLB writer, and he's one of the best at what he does. He is a fantastic, fantastic writer. Absolutely love his work. And he brought up some interesting points. Man, if you're a fan of this game, you certainly hope and pray that the players and owners back away, get in their respective corners, have this news blackout, and just let cooler heads prevail, because the state of the game is not good, and it is going to be terminal if they don't get this going here.
Yeah, I'm not in the dire, kind of category where I think MLB will go away if they don't have baseball. But
I think you'll have baseball. I just think Major League Baseball will be replaced by another entity. I'm just saying the Major League Baseball entity will die if they don't get this rectified here. I think that someone would probably say, okay, look, we'll start another league, call it whatever, and we'll do whatever we need to do.
It's
but
really hard to start a professional sports league today, even in a sport that's popular like baseball. I mean, if you're going to start from scratch, yeah, that's. I can't see a world where that happens. I can't.
Well, look, this is dire as far as I'm concerned, and the players and the owners, they need to really think long and hard about their next move, because there are three very dark clouds. One is over us, and the other two are on the horizon. And Major League Baseball is in a really bad place right now, and cooler heads have to prevail here if Major League Baseball wants to survive. It's that dire, and I just hope that. I agree with John. Even though it would suck for us because we report, it would really suck for us if we sat back and, we don't know what's going on because it's a blackout. You know what? It would probably be the best thing if Major League Baseball did have a blackout, in terms of we're not going to tell anyone our negotiations. We're not going to air our laundry for the public. I think what the owners did by airing their laundry was borderline asinine.
Well, what the owners did, it was a product of years and years of the players' union having all the leverage in Major League Baseball.
Sure.
So, I mean, the owners saw an opportunity to finally have leverage, and they tried to take it. Whether that's a great thing or not, I think it's not. It's just one thing's a product of the other.
Yeah, no, and look, I mean, John's right. It's people don't squawk about an owner making all kinds of money. They squawk about the players because the owner owns the team, and everyone understands that the owner paid a ridiculous amount of money to own this Major League Baseball team.
Well, that and the owner's not in the public eye like the players are.
True. No, very, very true. I just both sides need to get to their respective corners, and let's not destroy anybody through the media. Let's keep the negotiations very calm and not a lot of backbiting, because again, Major League Baseball is in a very, very bad position right now.
They're running out of time if they want to start on July 4th.
Well, absolutely. I mean, June 10th is the absolute drop-dead date. I mean, because June 10th, okay, now you can do 3 weeks of training camp, be done on July the 1st, send everyone on their merry way. July the 4th, we open up an 82-game season. Again, that would be the perfect scenario. If you can get everyone in camp by June the 10th and have a 3-week camp, okay, the pitchers are probably not going to be ready to go 7, 8, 9 innings, which, I mean, it is what it is. Look, this season is already screwed up to begin with. You're not going to get 162 games. And if you get a half a season and everyone is happy with what they got, that's all that matters.
With the strength of bullpens, I mean, I think that baseball was kind of going in the direction where starters weren't going to go deep in games anymore anyway.
No. I mean,
we might see a season where starters go 5, 6 innings, so that might be considered a quality start.
Well, I mean, 6 innings is now a quality start, which look, I mean, 6 innings give up no more than 3 earned runs, and that's a quality start, which I think is absolute horse crap.
Well, in today's bullpen, if you have 3 guys, you get to the 7th inning, you're golden.
Well, of course,
because no one's hitting them.
Yeah, but to me, a quality start does not have a 4.50 earned run average attached to it. For me, a quality start is, okay, if I'm going 6 innings, I'm going to give up no more than 2 earned runs. That way, my ERA is at 3. That's a quality start. If I get a starting pitcher that has an ERA of 3.0, I can live with that. I have a starting pitcher in today's game where offense is, pretty large, and my starting pitcher has an ERA of 4.50. No.
But as the bullpens lengthen where they're going, then the starter ERA standard is going to elevate. So all of a sudden, if you're pitching less innings, your ERA, a good ERA, isn't going to be 2.5 anymore. It's going to be 3.5 because you're not pitching as much.
Well, and that's fine. And look, pitchers aren't pitching that much to begin with. Nothing's going to change. It's not like we've seen complete games all over the place because we haven't. It's a rarity now. Guys that finish what they start. I mean, we hardly see that in Major League Baseball. It's the bullpens are going to. They're going to be as always, a main part of whether a team is going to be good, very good, or great. And obviously, that's part of the pitching staff. You got to have solid starters, solid bullpen, solid closer, and then you're golden as far as the pitching side. Hopefully, you get a few guys that know how to hit with runners in scoring position, a little bit of power in the bat, which would help. But I don't see baseball changing all that much. I think the bullpen will do every bit the same amount of work that it's done in the last few years. Let's just get this thing started. There's way too much on the line for the owners and the players to be stupid right now. It's crazy.
It's funny because it's kind of backwards because when this whole shutdown started, we were saying, how can youth leagues play when professionals aren't? Because it was a trickle down.
Yeah,
First
exactly.
Stopped, and then the youth stopped. Now, youth is getting there first because it's easier to restart youth leagues, and it's the major league sports that are taking a good amount of time. To
1 week from Sunday, the B League will start up.
Yeah.
And we'll have youth baseball. Now, hopefully, when youth baseball starts, we will hopefully have Major League Baseball going to training camp at some point in time. But again, as it looks right now, it doesn't appear to be anywhere close to being on the horizon. So
easier to shut down the big ones, but it's a lot harder to get them back up.
This is true. This is very true. All right, 330-886-0813, that is the number to call. Coming up at the top of the hour, we will hear from the new head football coach at Youngstown State University, Doug Phillips. And you talk about shutting things down. The off-season conditioning program for all colleges in football and all sports shut down. And that's when you have a first-year head coach trying to get his offensive and defensive philosophies on paper and get these players to buy into what he wants them to do, that's kind of a hard thing to sell. And we'll get the latest from Coach Phillips at 1 o'clock, and we'll hear what Coach Phillips has been doing. I'm got to imagine a lot of internet Zoom meetings with all of the players, but that's a big difference between getting together via Zoom meeting and getting together on the field to practice what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's a difference, but when you get to Division I football, you put on the big boy pants and you do what you got to do to kind of play at your highest level. So I'm sure Coach Phillips and the whole coaching staff is kind of doing the best with what they got, and that's what you do when you're at this level.
Yeah, so we'll hear from YSU head football coach Doug Phillips coming up at 1 o'clock. We're efforting to get in our hockey guru, Tom Callahan. Again, Commissioner Gary Bettman, and go figure, a guy that I thought by far and away a couple of years ago was the worst commissioner, and you could not possibly get someone worse than Gary Bettman. Major League Baseball said, hold my beer. We can find someone. Gary Bettman, of all commissioners, is going to wind up being the guy that gets his organization, his sport, back up and running. And honestly, I'm intrigued by the 24-team playoff. Now, 6 teams are not going to be very happy about this. But, you know, again, 24 teams in the playoffs, that's kind of make things interesting. And hopefully we will hear from Tom Callahan about this, because I think that hockey could very well have a revitalization that we haven't seen in quite some time from this sport.
Well, yeah, it'll be the only team sport to watch, really, when it comes back. So, and it's going to come back in a playoff, so stakes are going to be high. Ratings already spike when playoffs start, no matter what the sport is. So, I think they're in the catbird seat.
Well, and the one thing that I have said all along about hockey, the sport does not do it justice on television. It's one of those sports that you can watch it on TV, but it really doesn't tell the entire story. You go to a hockey game, into an arena and watch a hockey game. That is by far and away, and I'm a baseball guy, hockey by far and away is the best sport of the 4 major sports: football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. Hockey is by far and away the best sport to see live. It is so incredible to see that event live. And I get the feeling that if hockey plays their cards right, they could really be the beneficiary of COVID-19. Because if you think about it, and again, not many people have watched the sport, hockey is every bit as exciting as football, if not more so. There is far more action in hockey than any of the 3 major sports. And I think that a country that loves the quick pace will fall in love with hockey if you've never seen it before.
Yeah, and then I think the bad rap hockey gets is the low-scoring soccer kind of, because people like high-scoring events. So for some reason, it locks in their head. That's why they like the football games that go to 34. They like watching home runs in baseball. They like scoring. So that's the bad rap that hockey gets, because it's like soccer in the sense that you're only going to score on average, what's the average hockey score?
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, somewhere in that vicinity.
So that's just but yeah, you're right. I mean, until you watch it live, you just don't get a respect for what goes on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of baseball in hockey, whereas if you have a really good goalie, much like if you have a really good pitcher, the opposition is going to have a hard time scoring on you. So you're right, where everyone prefers offense, knowing full well that offense puts butts in the seats, defense wins championships. You get your rings by playing defense. You get to that point and attract the fans by putting a lot of points on the board. But if you've never seen a hockey game and hockey winds up being the first sport back, I'll guarantee you hockey gets a serious uptick. Yes, there are some rules that everyone would have to pretty much understand, much like football. If someone's never watched the game of football, obviously there's a lot of rules that you have to embrace, part of the sport. But I could see hockey going in a serious uptick if Major League Baseball fails to put a product on the field, and the National Hockey League is the one league that is constantly on TV. Oh, yeah, hockey will definitely soar in popularity.
Yeah, the NBA is pretty close, too. Don't forget that. I mean, they've come out and said they're probably going to return to do the playoffs in Orlando.
Sure.
And I think that the suggestion, not the first round thing, but the suggestion was to seed the teams regardless of seeding and just do a 16-team playoff.
Now, the question is, do you go right into the playoffs, or do you have 5 regular season games and then go into the playoffs?
I think since you're doing it all in one spot, you just say we're going right into the playoffs. Because why bring back all 30 teams in Orlando
Yeah.
And that's kind of silly. So I think if they come back, I think we'll just see them jump right into the playoffs.
Well, and that would be interesting. Now, hockey, the bad news with hockey is there's plenty of Canadians that play hockey.
Yep.
And if you go and start the season in the States, then you're going to have to keep it here. If you go to Canada, because there's no crossing right now between the United States and Canada because of COVID-19. If you put it up in Canada, you have to leave it in Canada. If you put it in the States, you have to leave it here in the States. Personally, again, this is Canada sport. This is not, I mean, yeah, we love hockey, but hockey in Canada is what baseball used to be in the United States. In a perfect world, the hockey playoffs would be in Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa. One of those 6 Canadian cities would be hosting, or all 6 of them would be hosting various postseason events, and we go from there. I think it would be fantastic if they kept hockey in Canada. Yes, we can have the nationally televised games here in the States and have Doc Emmerich on the call, and I think that hockey would have a tremendous following when it's all said and done. But again, hockey and baseball both need to get this thing going, and right now hockey is in really, really good shape because they pretty much have an agreement in hand. We will hear from Tom Callahan at 2 o'clock. Just booked him. So at 2 o'clock today, we will get the lowdown on what's going on in the National Hockey League with the 2014 playoff. And boy, if they do this right, this could be all kinds of fun. All right, 330-886-0813. That is the number to call. You brought up baseball or basketball, and on the heels of the 10-part documentary, which wasn't, because everything had to go through Michael Jordan. It's not a documentary. It was a Michael Jordan says
every
yes type of
documentary
thing.
has to go through somebody.
Yeah, but it goes through the people that are in charge of the documentary. The documentary don't go through someone who has.
I don't know. I mean, if you're making a documentary about, like, the next one is Lance Armstrong, I think everything went through Lance Armstrong.
Hell no, it didn't. Absolutely not.
You think he's going to sit there and be interviewed if he doesn't have a little bit of control?
Well, he's going to be interviewed in terms of what he has control to say during the interview.
If you're making a documentary about the 1990 Miami football team, you think Miami University is going to be like, we want a little bit of say on what goes in here? Every documentary about a sports team, especially when it's an organization or a high-profile player, is going to have some kind of vetting.
Okay, a team does, but not a player. And because Michael had all of the films, because of the company that said, "Hey, we want to tape this," they gave all that stuff to Michael. They didn't give it to the Bulls; they gave it to him. So again, it was a documentary because you wanted to make Michael look good. Whatever. On the precipice of that, you have the NBA. Now, if it starts up and the Lakers win an NBA title, I'm sure there are going to be people that are going to sit back and go, well, come on. It's not really a championship because you didn't play an entire season, to which...
Well, they only have 10 games left, right?
That's true. I mean,
they're pretty
they played
close
most
to
of the
regular
season. Exactly. I mean, look, I'm not going to put an asterisk next to anything. If Major League Baseball gets their stuff together and they play their 82-game season, I'm not putting an asterisk next to this season. Whatever happens, happens. Whoever wins a world title, congratulations, you won the World Series. I'm not putting an asterisk next to this. If someone hits 400 and they had the amount of at-bats to qualify for a batting title, okay.
All right.
Hey, damn
now,
at
would
it.
you say that they broke the record? If someone broke the record for a season average, would you put an asterisk by that?
If they had enough at-bats to qualify, no.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's... Now, are you going to have the same amount of at-bats? What is it? 3.1 plate appearances, 162 games. So instead of that, 3.1 plate appearances in 82 games. The big difference between the two, obviously, but a season is a season. I mean, it's not it's not baseball's fault. You had a pandemic. It's unfortunate, but you had an 82 game season. I think the 81 strike, I want to say they pretty much played a half a season, and then they divided it in halves, which was the dumbest idea baseball had at the time, because the Cincinnati Reds had the best record in all of baseball, and because they didn't finish in first place in either half, they didn't get an opportunity to go to the playoffs, which was absurd. So
That's before my time, but that sounds really messed up.
no, it was totally messed up. I remember the last game of the year, the Reds had no shot at catching the second half champs. I don't know if it was the Astros or the Dodgers that won the second half, but there were banners all over the place at Riverfront where the fans were basically letting everyone know, hey, we're the best team in baseball. And we had the best record in all of baseball, and they're not going to invite us into the postseason because Major League Baseball had a first half and a second half, which smacks of minor league baseball. And when I was a minor league broadcaster, I couldn't stand your first half and your second half, and whoever wins the first half plays the second half. What is this? Just play a whole year, top two teams go to the playoffs. I mean, you guys are overthinking this stuff. It's crazy.
When things like that happen, people tend to overthink, and that gets them into trouble.
Well, in the minor leagues case, their argument was after the first half of the season, if you've done really well, a lot of those kids will get moved up. And we lost, on average, 3 or 4 starters would get moved up from AA to AAA. And then we would have kids from high A ball get moved up to AA. And the chemistry takes a little bit of a turn. And historically, you're not nearly as good in the second half as you were in the first half if you've lost those kids. I get the theory of why they do it. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Just play an entire schedule, take the top 2 teams, and then go to the playoffs. Be done with it. Whoever won the league or whoever won your division has home field advantage. Best of 5, and either play 2-2 or 2-2-1 or 2-3.
So you said the Reds had the best record in baseball?
Reds had the best record in baseball.
But didn't win the 2 halves?
They did not win either half. So because they didn't win either half, they didn't go to the playoffs. But they had the best record of anyone in Major League Baseball. Finished in second in both halves.
That's a head scratcher.
It was stupid. It was beyond stupid.
So whoever beat them in the second half must have had a poor first half to not have a better record than
they were crappy in the first half, but then they won the second half. And here's Cincinnati. They're like a game or 2 out in both halves. They have the best record of any team in Major League Baseball, and they're not in the postseason because Major League Baseball decided they wanted to break the season into halves.
Go win your half.
Yeah, go win your half. That was such a minor league feel to it. We're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we're going to switch up subjects. We're going to talk football, college football. YSU head football coach Doug Phillips will be joining us in a bit. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well-appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
The inner showers I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Trying to get a hold of YSU head football coach Doug Phillips. We are efforting to get a hold of him. Hopefully, we will be able to get a hold of him very soon, and we'll go from there. It's live stuff. You can't help. In all likelihood, he probably has a meeting and. A little late coming out of the meeting. It is what it is. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah, we'll take a back seat to coaches' meetings.
Absolutely. I'd actually like to take part in some of those coaches' meetings. And
I don't know if you're certified, Ron.
Yeah, well, this is true. Yeah, I'm only certified to do boys basketball. So there you go. It is what it is. All right, 330-886-0813. That is the number to call as we wait to hear from the head football coach at Youngstown State, Doug Phillips. We will take some phone calls, continue to talk about what is going on in the world of sports.
Let's talk while we wait. Let's just talk about YSU football and what we expect. I mean, coming in, Doug Phillips, before this whole thing started, he was already out on the getting some good interest in Youngstown State football. So I think he was doing a great job before all this shutdown happened, and now. I imagine he's doing a really good job keeping the team together.
Well, the cupboard's definitely not bare with Coach Phillips. Now, I was a little disappointed to see Justice Reed, the very talented defensive end, leave Youngstown State. Now, good for him in that he is taking a step up as he will be at Virginia Tech.
Well, you never say no to Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. I mean, that's a premier program. It's always been a premier program. So when someone like that knocks on your door, I don't blame him for taking that step.
No, if you can go from FCS to
ACC
to the ACC, that's a pretty large step up. And I think Justice Reed will do a fantastic job at Virginia Tech. But certainly the cupboard is not bare at Youngstown State, and I think that it's going to be a very fascinating season. Speaking of the devil, let's go right now to the hotline where we are joined by the head football coach of the Youngstown State University Penguins, Doug Phillips. Coach Phillips, how are you today, sir?
Well, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Fantastic. In a world in which you're not able to get the players together to practice, I imagine the computer is being used an awful lot to get the players together.
Yes, but we've adjusted. I think in life you make you adjust. You have a plan, but I held a team meeting Friday on Zoom, and you got to act like they're right in front of you, like you're in the classroom talking to them. And we've been able to have individual position meetings, unit meetings, inside run, 7-on-7. It's just a different delivery method, but we hope that transfers to the field when we get to the field.
Anthony and I were talking about the field. You come into a situation where the cupboard was far from bare. Now, obviously, we would have loved to have had Justice Reed back for the senior year, but he goes to Virginia Tech. But my goodness, Coach, there is an awful lot of talent on this football team.
There is. The only concerning part I have, if we're an O-line, D-line driven team, that O-line took a big hit. So we got to do a great job. I think we got one Dan Becker coming back. So, we got to replace 4 guys up front, and that's where football games are won, and it's going to be our job to get those guys developed as quickly as we can.
As a first-year head coach, what have been kind of the difficulties or obstacles in trying to establish your philosophy and your coaching style with this team when you've only had to do everything web-based and not face-to-face interaction?
Well, I think we had a great first month and a half before all this went down. That we spent a lot of time with our kids, with their position coaches, because, again, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I think that first 2 months that we're able to do that, and then going into even this quarantine and the work and effort that we put in. I tried to every day. I think there was a month, 2 months that I texted them every weekday, talking about our philosophy, talking about the things we talked about before we left campus, just to reinforce it so when they get back on campus, they truly know what our core principles are.
Coach Phillips, obviously the edit was put down that college football and college basketball players are going to be allowed back on campus very, very shortly. Do you have a timetable in terms of when practice is going to restart for the kids?
Well, we're constantly communicating, with the NCAA and even with our league, in the Missouri Valley, just to see when they are. But the first thing that's a positive note is June 1st, our staff is allowed back in the office, and we're going to do it split, just so we limit how many are in a confined space. So I'm bringing offense back on Monday, defense on Tuesday, and then on Friday, we can do a whole staff meeting in a big classroom. But players-wise, they're allowed voluntary workouts. That means, again, it's not football. That means, they got to schedule it with the strength coach to come over to the stadium, and we're going to start outside in the stadium for the first couple weeks. And those are just for the kids that are living in Youngstown, or that I think we got 42 kids that are still here or staying here, that those 42 kids got to sign up, and, we got to bring them in groups of 7 or 8 just because we got maybe 2 strength coaches working that make 10. And so we got to be creative there, but that's voluntary workouts that'll go through the month of June. And then we're still waiting to see what July brings and when we will have full football access to them. But we're hoping by mid-July, end of the July, that, we can start coaching football.
In a normal atmosphere or a normal calendar year, the coach would allow the players that, or the would-be players that were not given a scholarship, not given an opportunity to walk on, to have that opportunity to try out for the football team. Is there a scenario in which you're going to invite some of the kids that are attending Youngstown State University who had football backgrounds in high school to possibly try out for the 2020 version of the YSU Penguins, or are you waiting on that?
No, we have some preferred walk-ons, which, we evaluated, through tape, and we kind of had a list, and we kind of ranked them, by position. I think right now our roster's probably at 123, 126, and the difficult thing is, I've yet to evaluate even the walk-ons that are in our program. We got 85 scholarship players, and all of a sudden you got 20 of your own walk-ons that, I saw 4 winter workouts. Now there's some kids that, either we were recruiting, whether I was at Cincinnati or, someone was at another school, that are coming in as walk-ons, based on their senior year film, and saying, what, we believe this young man can help us this year, or help us on special teams, or at least compete. So once we get a firm set on what our roster is, yes, I think then you take the next step is, okay, maybe someone wasn't on that board, but they're at Youngstown State and they want to be part of the program. But what's concerning is locker room. How many lockers do you have? Okay, do they get a locker? Are they in the locker room? So it's a lot of logistics and working through that, and especially going through this COVID where, they're going to get temperatures read. We might have meetings where we got to have less kids. We might have to have split practices to begin. So we're looking at all those things. So Will opportunities be there? I always say this for a walk-on. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You first got to be at a school that you want to get your college degree at. And if football's that important to you, that there will be opportunities for you.
Coach, you have a great strength and conditioning kind of program there, and you got some great trainers and strength coaches there. Take time to shine a light on them and how their job has drastically kind of changed since they got to get these kids ready for summer and ready for a season with not as much time as they would normally have.
Well, it kind of reminds you of what we did in the older days. Back in the day, back in 1991, some of those kids weren't on campus until camp. So you kind of had to trust. I remember doing, running conditioning drills where if you're a wide receiver, you're working the tree while you're home in, whether it's in Cincinnati or if it's in Louisville, Kentucky. And then when camp started, you got those kids in, and you always did a conditioning test to see who worked during the summer. So we're in a similar situation now that, you're trusting kids to be safe, to be healthy, to be doing it right, but to maintain nutrition, maintain their fitness, because if you come in July and you haven't done anything, you're probably not going to be high on the depth chart.
YSU head football coach Doug Phillips joining us on the YSN hotline. Coach Phillips, I know that everyone has been in constant communication league-wide, YSU and the Missouri Valley Football Conference. As far as the league games are concerned, with all of the social distancing and the fact that this is a very difficult league travel-wise, are there any potential problems for Youngstown State going through their Missouri Valley Football Conference road schedule?
Right now that'll be questions for the presidents and the athletic directors, but right now we're going as if we're getting ready for September 5th against Akron. The one thing I had to do just for my own sanity was stop worrying about when and start worrying about when we do and having a plan when we do, because if I sat there every day and wondered, when are we coming back? What's the season going to look like? I would go crazy. So my focus has been, all right, you bring us back on July 23rd, this is what we're doing. You bring us back on August 1st, this is what we're doing. If we can only play league games, this is what we'll do. So I tried to keep those thoughts out of my mind because there's enough people that are working on that I stay focused on how I can provide our kids the best plan for 2020.
Well, and every scenario needs to be played. Otherwise, you could have a state of chaos on your campus.
You can have chaos, and not only that, you want to put yourself in the. I've had 4 different states, and I'm just ready for.
For everyone's sanity, let's talk about a little football and talk about what you're excited about when you look at your roster and what kind of things you're expecting from the team this year.
Well, I think like anything, you got to first, to me, I talked about our kids that what can you provide to our program that doesn't take talent? Because to me, X's and O's, that's one thing. You got to be able to execute. You got to be able to line up. You got to be able to play with fundamentals. But the things that I think win football games, especially in the third and fourth quarter, is that team, that locker room. So how do we build in a short period of time the unselfishness, the positive leadership? How do you handle success? How do you handle adversity? Things that doesn't take skill, but you got to build within your program. And the one thing I tried to do was when I evaluated Bill last year, okay, against Illinois State, they were great. Started off strong, finished the game strong. But there's games where maybe you had a lead, and all of a sudden that lead in the third and fourth quarter, those are the things where when adversity strikes, what are you going to do? And we've been stressing over them through this pandemic. You got to thrive through those situations. So there's a lot of non-football things that we got to get done quickly, and those are the things I'm reinforcing daily with our kids. That unselfishness, trying to play as a team, the leadership, all those things. So that's the exciting part, for us. And I think we stress it with our kids that I want kids that are going to play with great effort, great attitude. I want to see kids that compete each and every play. And then the final thing is, take pride in your unit, whether it's the quarterbacks to the running backs, and go out every day and practice and compete and try to be the very best group you can be. And then on Saturdays, bring them together as a team. So in a nutshell, that's what we're trying to get done.
I know for you as a coach, and you're someone that is very much into the positive aspects of life, which is obviously the only way that anyone should be looking at life. You have to look at it glass half full. I imagine for you it was really easy watching the game film and then determining, okay, when the going was tough, how many of my kids or potential kids on my team had their heads down, and if they did, I'm sure you're taking notes saying, all right, we're going to have to work on this, because you never want to have your kid have their head down. I got to imagine that was a big part of film watching for you.
Oh, it was. And, we even filmed our winter conditioning drills, and we had cameras on them when they didn't know they had cameras on them, and see how they handled success. I had a young man, and, you got to pull that out in practice. You got to pull that out when you see it. I had a young man win a tug-of-war, but after the tug-of-war, he laid on the ground for 7 seconds. Are you going to do that after a defensive end sacks you? Then when I saw you walking back to the line, your head's down, your shoulders are slumped. Then when you get back to the line, you're leaning over, hands on your knees. I said, if I'm a defensive team, I'm licking my chops for that next play. I mean, those are the things. I mean, X's and trust me, X's and O's are very important. But those characteristics, those qualities that you got to build, I think is the difference between average teams and winning teams and championship teams. And that takes time to build, but, we're going to try to expedite that as quickly as we can.
It's a very tough Missouri Valley Conference. How excited are you to kind of embrace that challenge and take it 1 week at a time and try to get through that and compete in that conference?
I'm very excited for the Missouri Valley Conference, and what I want to try to do is, try to learn in this off season, who they are, who the coaches are, what type of style. And if you're an FCS, you want to be in that conference because they're the very best. And so I am fired up, to be able to play with the very best and learn from it and study it and try to, go in there with the best prepared team we can.
Coach, I hope that the fans are going to be allowed to go into Stambaugh, because when the fans are into it, Stambaugh can be a really, really tough place to play for the opposition.
Yeah, I think fans, they got to feel part of the program, and that's our job to build and make them feel we're part of the valley, we're part of the city, and we got to put a great product on the field. It's winning is very important, but more than winning is feeling a connection with your community, and that's something we're going to have to do over the next 2 to 5 years, is build that connection with the community that they want to come support you. But you do got to win football games. All fans want to see winners.
Coach, always a pleasure. Look forward to the team practicing as soon as possible, and I know you're going to be looking forward to seeing what you have amongst your players when you finally get this team on the field.
Well, I want you to know I did this interview as the moving trucks unloading and coming and asking me questions to go where to go and all that. So know that I was doing this during a move.
I like the fact that you're a multitasker, Coach. You're already a success here.
Well, I appreciate it, and I just want you to know that's what I have multiple tasks going on right now, but it was great talking to you guys, and anytime you give me a call.
I appreciate it, Coach. There you go, multitasking, because there is nothing worse than moving and getting all of that stuff, the moving van and all that stuff unloaded and whatnot. That's talent right there.
Especially when it's not exactly a move down the street. I mean, when it's a long move, it's tough.
Yeah, and he was for those that are unfamiliar. Doug Phillips graduated from Springfield High School, so he is a Valley guy. But his last job was an assistant to Coach Fickle at the University of Cincinnati. So he's moving from Cincinnati
all the way across the state
back to the Mahoning Valley, so that's not exactly a move across the street. That's you've accumulated all kinds of furniture and whatnot. You have a moving van going from Cincinnati back into the Mahoning Valley. That's multitasking in a big way, making sure that you're telling the with hand signals the moving guys where to put the stuff. That's multitasking right there, kids.
I love it. While you're on the phone talking to us, we feel privileged that Coach Phillips was able to come on even when he had such a hectic thing going on. So that's pretty makes us feel good.
Yeah, and like I said, this is going to be an interesting season in that he's a first-year coach. He has not had an opportunity to get his players on the field nearly as much as he'd wanted to. And hopefully, when we get the practices back in line again starting next month, we're not going to have another delay. Hopefully, we don't have another outbreak, and the virus is kept in check because, again, you're already behind the eight ball as a first-year coach. Hopefully, Youngstown State is going to have the normal amount of practices from here on out, so this team can, at least on the field, thrive this year. Again, I personally believe that first-year coaches are behind the eight ball in terms of trying to get their offensive and defensive game plans down. They're already behind the eight ball, and that's you're already in an uphill battle right now. Hopefully, the virus does not make a comeback and everyone is going to be able to go on about their business and have no more interruptions.
I tell you what, talking to Coach Phillips, I think he sounds like he has everything kind of under control. I mean, he said all the right things, and I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to be able to not let this COVID-19 thing be kind of a crutch, and not let it be an excuse, and go and really rock the Missouri Valley Conference.
One of the things that I really enjoyed as part of the interview was the intricacies that he's seeing and what he was saying. Look, if a kid has his head down, that's not a good sign. It's little things like that. Coach Pelini talked a little bit about that, but really didn't expand on that very much. I like the idea that someone is going to make sure that the kids are not doing that, to that, you're going to be playing the right way, and when stuff goes wrong, we're not going to have you pout. We're not going to have you slump your shoulders and put your head down and have a negative body language. You're going to continue to have a positive body language. That goes a long way. Now, it's obviously it's not on the same page as talent, but if you have a team full of guys that are working their ass off, as I have seen firsthand on numerous occasions, hard work trumps talent that doesn't work hard. I mean, John Wooden made a history of saying that a number of times, and there's truth to that.
I liked what he said when he said they put cameras on them without them knowing it. That's a great way to kind of see what a kid's body language is really going to be when no one's really looking at him. And that's a great tactic. And we've had him on YSN a couple times. He's been so big into body language and team culture, and I really like what I hear when he talks about that.
No, I agree. And I know some people may not like the fact, why are you filming me without my knowledge? Well, there's a reason for that. You want to see, okay, who is really buying into this program and who's got problems in that they're not being positive, that there's a lot of negativity. I don't want the negativity. If I'm running a team, I don't want negative kids.
Well, it sets the standard. When you step into our facility at YSU football, you better act every minute like there are eyes on you, because you never know when there's not going to be a camera on you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you better work out. You better do the conditioning. You better practice every day like there's always someone watching, even if it's not Coach Phillips.
Yeah, and you better have a good attitude about it, and that's part of developing a really good culture, and I like that idea. I like that idea an awful lot, actually. All right, 330-886-0813. We're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we'll take some phone calls. I wanted to bring up something. We'll talk a little bit about the baseball season that, well, hopefully is going to be happening. I mean, we'll see. We'll talk a little bit about that and take your phone calls as well. 330-886-0813. It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself, like I'm living the dream. Platform shoes, strutting down the street. It's gonna get hot in here, I hope you can handle the heat.
Over the years, you watched us grow, and as we've done, so has the Myers Family Insurance team.
Thanks to all of you who have trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. I guess we have breaking news.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We've been anticipating this for a while because DJ Yoakley and Quinn Puskar have been chomping at the bit to see who's better in a 40-yard dash for the last month and a half or so, and it's happening. Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. We're going to find out who's got who, and we'll have the results on Running Point.
So we're going to have a sundial out for both of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure of that. Oxygen will be provided as soon as the 40 yards are up.
Ambulances will be on call.
Ambulance will be on call. Yeah, something of that nature. Okay, yeah, sure. And we'll gladly announce the winner on this, and maybe we'll dub in a little play-by-play in the final 20 yards.
We'll do that.
Where's Dave Johnson when you need him? And down the stretch they come.
Yoakley's in front. Now it's Quinn. Now it's Yoakley. It's a photo finish.
Yoakley by a length and a half. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, we're obviously bored here with no sports, so we'll have a 40-yard dash between those two, and we'll have the results on Friday. That should be fun. That should be a good time. Coming up in about a half an hour, we're going to talk National Hockey League with our hockey guru, Tom Callahan, a 24-team playoff. How does that work? We'll get a little bit of information with Tom Callahan. I like the idea that Tony had last week when we started bouncing off ideas of what Major League Baseball can do once they once they get this up and running. And I just look, I am not going to sit back and say that they're going to that all of this is dead and buried. It's not. They're going to get this up and running. I fully believe they are going to get this up and running. I don't believe that baseball is going to be a no-show in 2020. I believe you're going to get an 82 game schedule. The owners and the players are going to work this out, and I don't think everyone's going to be happy about it, but they are going to work it out, because if they don't, I think that they take a monumental hit, and I understand. I would hope that the players and the owners both understand that they cannot afford a monumental hit. So if and when they do decide to get this thing going, I kind of like the idea of playing some games in minor league ballparks where, especially if the fans are allowed to attend, hey, $30, sell a ticket, let 3,000 or 4,000 people come into the stadium to watch a game at $30 a head. Why not?
Especially since there's probably not going to be a minor league season
there's no minor league baseball this year.
There's going to be. I mean, it's going to be played. It's just not. It's going to be played in Arizona or whatever. Whatever. They're not going to be minor league baseball in those minor league stadiums. So if you're letting 10,000 into the MLB stadium, then go ahead and let 2 or 3,000 into a minor league facility.
Why not?
I love it. I think every major league team has someone that's relatively close to them in their minor league system.
Absolutely. And, again, I mean, the Indians are blessed in that Akron is less than an hour away. The East Lake is less than an hour away. The Mahoning Valley is about an hour and a half away. Columbus is 2 and change. That's not bad. That's not too shabby at all. And again, I think it would be a tremendous PR for Major League Baseball to do something of that regard. I really do.
You see me this time?
He didn't sneak up on me this time.
DJ did not sneak up on our boy Anthony.
That was viral.
DJ wearing a Latonia Bears shirt.
There it goes.
Interesting.
You represent Hawaii. I represent Latonia. Both just warm climate places that are beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, sure.
We have some breaking news on YSN for those of you who are used to watching the Power Hour. Quinn and I, now this is, about a month in the making here?
Yeah, because one of our first Power Hours, it was brought down. So.
Quinn Pushkar challenged me to a 40-yard dash.
Oh, Lordy.
Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday, it goes down.
I want to. I just want to clarify a couple of things. Oxygen will be available at the end of the 40-yard dash.
Oh, I'm an athlete.
Okay. Ambulance is going to be on call. Where exactly are we running down the street, and do we have to close the street?
No. This isn't like our wiffle ball contest. We're gonna run at.
Well, you're not going to need to close the street on wiffle ball because everything's going to be hit in the air.
We're gonna run.
And it's a wiffle ball, for God's sake.
You are not gonna. First off, there's no way you make that. None. Like I've talked to experts.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm gonna hit it. I'm just saying I'm gonna hit everything in the air. So cars are not gonna be really in
I'll double
danger.
down on the bet. I'll double down that you hit the majority of your wiffles on the ground.
Oh, stop that.
Especially if Steve-O's pitching.
Well, I don't want to. If you're throwing BP, your job is to throw a pitch where a guy can drill the ball. That's what BP's about.
Yeah, right. And he's under honest instruction to throw the ball wherever you want it.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing is on Friday.
You're running a 40.
We're running a 40-yard dash.
All right.
I was challenged, and I just want to make it. We have the cleats that I'll be running in, and Quinn's out there. I brought these cleats in, and he nearly urinated himself. I mean, these are intimidating by themselves. I mean, the faders from black to gold, Steelers looking.
Okay.
And they're blazing speed. So he doesn't realize how serious. Like when somebody challenges me, I take it very serious.
Where are we running this? Not we. Where are you running
parts
this?
Unknown.
Okay.
You'll be able to figure out when it's done, but we don't want to cause a mob scene of people trying to watch us run the 40-yard dash.
Is there an over under on a number that we should be focusing in on?
No, I mean if you look back at the Deion Sanders running the 40 in his prime, that's pretty much what you can expect from two stellar, well-maintained athletes in their mid-30s.
Wait, Quentin's in his mid-20s.
I'm thinking,
but he's built like a mid-40s.
I'm thinking 5 seconds is gonna probably be a hard.
I'm shooting
thing
for
to
5-1.
break.
I'm shooting for 5-1.
5-1 would be good.
I'm shooting 5-1.
5-1 would be outstanding.
That is just unbelievable men's slow pitch softball speed right there. 5-1.
Yeah.
That is like you're making singles into doubles, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. You're having if you're 5-1 running up the first base line at running at 5-1 40-yard dash speed, you can beat out a couple of infield hits.
Oh, absolutely, and I have, and
There
that's
you
what he
go.
doesn't understand. Like,
There you go.
I took this year to retire from men's softball so I could focus on the business.
Okay.
But I mean, I can come back at any time. It's like MJ, right? I retired in my prime, and I'm ready to come back. Maybe I want to play basketball. Maybe I'll flip it on for everybody else. Maybe I'll play basketball. We're number. Well, he was 23.
He went 23 to 45.
So I'll go like 57.
Okay.
Like Heinz. They can call me Heinz.
All right.
Because that's pretty much all I eat is ketchup.
So,
on everything.
Lay down the rules. Are you guys just doing one heat? Or are you just doing 3 heats and taking your best run? Or?
No. It's one heat. It's
One
straight
heat.
up. It's
show
for,
up and
for pink slips. Yeah, it's
great. I love it.
Because I mean, Quinn gets out of breath by the time he goes from his car in the parking lot to his desk, which is 7 feet away. So he thinks he can beat me in a 40-yard dash.
I don't want to see any of this bullshit. 30 yards down the field, you are nowhere near going to win this
Pull a
thing.
hammy?
And then you pull up with a hammy and do an Academy Award-winning performance. I want to see any of that.
Listen, I've been training. He hasn't. That's all
Okay.
I'm going to say. Like,
Okay, there you go.
I'm prepping. Like he's out there slugging Mountain Dews and getting ready for a 10,000 calorie challenge, and I'm preparing to show how slow he is.
Okay, there you go.
And I will have representation. I'll be sponsored. So
wow. All right.
I'll have my G. Burbick Farms shirt on.
Okay.
So
and 20 yards down the field when I go,
hey,
you're going to be dying of laughter.
These feet are so fast, it's going to sizzle the steaks that I'm going to be cooking after a victory. So.
Man's doing an awful lot of talking.
Love it.
All right, there we go. Someone's filming this, correct?
Oh yeah, intern Trey is going to be filming it. And by the way, Ron, welcome to YouTube. You're on YouTube right now.
I appreciate it. Hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
How are you? Yeah.
So we're excited. He's out there cutting your vids. So we'll have everything will be. Usually it takes like a day for us to cut all of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like intern Trey's on it. He's going to be cutting this stuff. He's going to be filming. We're ready. We're taking strides. We're beating people in 40-yard dashes. We're
Intern
going to play
Trey
wiffle ball.
is quickly becoming one of the goats at YSN.
Yeah, he's already a goat.
He got thrown in the fire yesterday at Power Hour and didn't even miss a beat.
Didn't blink.
Didn't blink at all.
No, he's a good, and he loves you. He
So,
called into the show before. And
Yeah.
you talked to him.
Yeah.
He called you.
Let me
He's
guess
a little
what the Power Hour is going to entail tomorrow. A lot of trash talking.
Oh, dude, it's going to be sponsored by CSI here in East Palestine. There's going to be so much trash. Talking trash. Bring a dumpster, and then when it's all over, we'll light it on fire, because that's what it is right now. It's a dumpster fire. We're just trying to make sure everything goes off without a hitch. But no, I mean, Quinn, he's not slow. He's just not fast.
Okay. Well, again, this is why I would never, ever, ever bring that up.
You're next, though.
Hell no.
I'm not with the 40.
I'm not gonna
Wiffle
do.
ball. Wiffle ball.
I'm not doing anything that I can't do.
Wiffle ball.
Wiffle ball. I will do what is said to be done. Just let me,
I just don't think
we get a couple of practice acts and we'll have.
I don't
some
think
fun
you
with
understand how
this.
far that is.
I understand how far it is. I've seen it.
It's like 250 feet.
I've
Oh,
seen
there
it.
he is.
Oh,
Quinn has
Lord.
entered the building.
I feel like Howard Cosell with Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali in the.
Is this like a UFC showdown?
Please, not get into
Do you want
any
me to put these here
fisticuffs or
so you can take a look at them?
anything of that nature.
Yeah, shoot.
Good Lord, I feel like
We'll get used to this side of him, because that's all you're going to see.
I can't see that far.
See? Diabetes from all the Mountain Dews he's been drinking.
This is not a Mountain Dew today.
Oh, Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, it's an Arnold Palmer. That's upgrade there.
See, he's getting ready too.
Hi, Ron. Nice to see
How you
today.
doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
He's the only person I know that bodies actually reject water. because it's so used to Mountain Dew.
Hey, it took me a while to.
I'm proud of you.
To
You
get
both
back
are in
doing
here.
this, but I'm I'm doing this. Yeah, ask me how my golf game is.
Well, I read about that yesterday. Rough?
Oh my God! Now, I went to Buck Run.
Yeah.
Buck Run's a nice course.
Tough little course, though.
Have not golfed at Buck Run in, I want to say, 30 years.
Okay.
I remember the first hole. First hole is a vivid picturesque
That's
first
never
hole.
a good thing.
You are, for those that have never golfed on Buck Run, you are
Where is
way
Buck
up
Run?
here.
Where is Buck Run?
Buck Run is just outside of Salem.
Okay.
You are way up here, and the greens are down here. It's a par 3, buck 80, buck 65, depends on which ones you're playing. We played the middle ones because I was golfing with a bunch of old people. So we played the middle ones. And
they're old.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, this shouldn't be that difficult. Now, mind you, I haven't golfed in a year and a half, so this shouldn't be very difficult. Bullshit, it wasn't difficult. I hit the shot and they're like, well, you're allowed to have a mulligan. I'm like, no. Judging on what I just did here,
That was hole one?
I'm going to need that mulligan at some point in time.
Oh, no.
I hit the ball relatively well, but nowhere near the green. And so started the process of, okay, hit what I thought would be hard enough to go to the green, nowhere near it. So hit it, goes over the green. Had no touch whatsoever. You're like this far away from the green, so you're thinking, okay, just hit the ball a little bit, over the green on the other side. I'm like,
so you're just chasing.
Oh, I was left, right, the whole 9 yards. After the round was over, I'm gonna have to play this game a lot more to get back or to start to have a better feel for the game.
Well, with our new partnership with the Mill Creek Metro Parks,
Absolutely,
you might be able to.
Now the problem with me and Mill Creek, I don't hit anything straight, so a lot of golf balls will go into the woods at Mill Creek. I have to hit the ball straight.
Well, you know what you should
in
do?
order to succeed.
We should have it so you sign every golf ball. So that way, when people get it, it's an autographed Ron Potesta golf ball,
Which isn't worth
from Running
anything.
Point.
Yeah,
that
there
will get you
go.
some Running Point golf balls.
Oh God!
Actually, we actually do have some YSN golf balls. I'll give you some YSN golf balls.
Lord knows they would probably be gone in one setting.
Well, that's free
So,
promotion though. It's like
I
billboards,
don't know.
right?
So if you don't hit it straight, just aim it all the way to the left, and then you don't hit the fairway.
Doesn't work
Oh, it
like
doesn't
that.
work that
I
way.
wish it was that easy.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
like with Ron, it doesn't work that
Here's
way.
the thing. So if it's straight, as I'm writing down, I'm tilted to the left because I hit the ball to the right. So if I'm tilted to the left, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to curve around and wind up straight. Oh no. I tilt to the left, go straight to the left. I'm like, how the hell does this happen? If I line up straight, it goes way to the right. If I line up left of straight, it goes all the way to the left. I'm like, I can't win here.
I have figured my golf swing out, and it's not pretty because most golfers, they golf like this, right?
Yeah.
I golf like Jose Bautista style, or who's the I'm trying to remember. He was a Blue Jay, completely open stance towards the pitcher.
Yeah.
And then he stepped in.
Yeah.
Well, I golf literally like this, and I go straight. Somehow it goes straight with as much power.
So you got an inside-out swing.
It's bad. It's a baseball swing.
Yeah,
right?
it's
a
an
baseball
inside-out
swing.
swing.
Yeah, it's a baseball swing. But
Yeah.
I figured it out to where I can control it. I still hit it this way, but it ends up perfectly where I need it to go.
I wish I could hit a ball straight. I can't do it. And the fairway could be the size of Leetonia width-wise, and I would find a way to screw it up. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. And then the one guy looked at me and he says, well, how often do you golf? I said, I haven't picked these up in about a year and a half. He goes, well, duh. He says, that's why you suck at this game right now. I'm like, oh, there you go.
Unreal.
So at least I beat my dad, and that's all that matters.
I think that's all
I should be proud to beating an 80-plus-year-old person.
He
on
was
the
good
golf
with this
course.
story until about 10 seconds ago. And
Yeah.
he's like, ha ha ha, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's that.
Maybe we should have a YSN golf outing. Little YSN get together, have see who's the worst of the worst.
Me
I
and
guess.
Ron have to ride together because our balls are going the same way.
Oh my God.
We're right up that
Yeah.
right side.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good. And one of the reasons why I would love to go to Mill Creek, they give the golf lessons.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's.
See
I
if we
told
can
Brian, I said, your work's cut out for you if you're going to be trying to teach me how to play this game.
I think that'd be worth a little bit of a play for us. Is showing how your game progresses with the great instruction of Brian Tolnar.
As we get closer to football season, I would love for us to do, before football season, a YSN golf outing.
Sure.
Where you invite the head football coaches and just basically have hey, we're going to be doing football this year and we're going to be working together. We might as well have some fun doing this. A little 18-hole action, get Mill Creek involved, after 9 holes, everyone eats all kinds of goodies and,
grill up some G. Bourbon Farm steaks.
There you go.
Goes home happy.
I think that would be phenomenal.
I think we can do that.
I think it would be absolutely phenomenal. So
it only starts after Friday, though. After the
get Coach Q on the course. You ever see him play?
No. Stud.
Oh my God. He hits the ball like no one's business.
Anything he does, though, it's like magic. People don't give him enough credit. Like, he was a hell of a baseball player.
Yes, he was.
And people, they know him for football around here, but you talk to him, he was a baseball guy first.
Mariners were very interested in him at one point in time.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And for his size, you know what I mean? He's not a big guy.
No.
And that was probably what he'll look at and say, I maxed out every inch and every ounce of my potential.
Yeah. No, I've golfed with him on a number of occasions, and he can hit the ball high, far, and straight.
Yep.
Pretty solid.
He's a good guy. I like Paulie.
Yeah, pretty solid. I'd like to see Julio on the golf course too.
You like to see Julio wherever.
Well,
These guys are just buddies.
Look, if he gets Leetonia into the playoffs, they're going to build a statue in his honor. And he should. So
he deserves it. But that's still one of the most underrated fields. I love that field.
What, Leetonia?
Yeah, I do.
Bigger press box would be needed, but other than that, I love it. Yeah.
But I think
it's in the middle of it's.
You come out of the gym, if you come out of the gym, like we did their graduation, and I just kept going out of the gym on the backside, and you look down, and it's almost like what's the one in LSU, the Death Valley.
Death Valley.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool where you're looking down on it, and you're like, wow, that's where so many memories.
Yeah, I think
made.
Death Valley's Clemson because they run down that.
I'm sorry, yeah.
The best part of that is they brought the bell tower.
I love it.
Back over to the new field.
I love that bell tower.
Because that's it's a tradition that hopefully that bell rings a little bit more often than it has in recent years. But every Friday, home or away, if the Bears won a game on the road, we come back home, go to the bell tower, yank the chain, let the bell be heard that everyone knows that the Bears won on Friday night. So
it's one of my favorite traditions, and so many schools around here have it. Ursuline has it, Salem has it, Leetonia, and it's one of my favorite things because, it's cool, but it's such a communal thing.
Yeah.
That the entire school gets involved in, and everybody cheers and